Hi everyone. I need some dry ice for a project I'm doing, so I thought I'd try and make some. I started off by cutting the discharge tube on this fire extinguisher and adapting the fitting. I silver soldered a capillary tube to the end. This helps with the control release as well of the CO2 from the cylinder. But I needed something larger, so I went out and got this liquid withdrawal cylinder. I then needed a jig to sit everything on, so I made this from a bit of ply and a ratchet strap. I want to keep the setup as close to the CO2 valve as possible. I had a piece of tube, aluminium tube lying around, which I modified. I drilled 3 holes in it for the excess CO2 gas that would get released. And I wrapped this mesh around to help capture more of the CO2 as dry ice. Not sure if this makes a huge amount of difference, but I haven't tried it without. But it seems to work well with it, so I've kept it on there. I then had a piece of angled bar, which I cut some slots into and drilled a few holes so I could fix it down to the ply. I also tapped 2 holes in the cylinder so I can fix it to the angled plate. Then fixed it down to the ply in a groove that I cut. I had a bung for the end. It did have a threaded hole in it, which I need to restrict the flow out of. I found this fitting which fitted quite well. It's not anything specific, it's just literally there to stop the mesh from being pushed out. Again, this is going to allow some of the high pressure gas, CO2 gas, to escape, reducing the pressure in the cylinder. I want the inside of a cylinder to be as close to atmosphere as possible, but try and reduce the amount of CO2 lost and try and increase the amount turned into dry ice. This bar helps stop the bung from being pushed out. Then cut the capillary tube. And bend it into position into the small hole in the side of the cylinder, not to push it in too far. this cylinder I done a few years ago for a different project, so I had this piston made. It's literally just being used to push the dry ice out of the cylinder once I'm done. As I release the liquid CO2, a lot of it turns to vapour until the temperature drops. Then you can see the 3 holes on the side releasing the vapour. As the CO2, as the dry ice increases, you can see the one hole after the other start to reduce its spray. I also can feel on the end of the piston how much force is being put against it, which sort of gives me a good indication. And I've got quite a good chunk of dry ice. I was quite happy with the result, considering it was just made out of scrap parts from around the workshop. Thanks for watching.